Hi, my name is Joanna Holt and I work at the Netherlands Research School for Astronomy, or NOVA, in the Netherlands. NOVA is the alliance of the 4 Dutch astronomy universities in Amsterdam, Groningen, Leiden and Nijmegen. And the work presented here was done together with my colleagues at NOVA, Joris Hansen and Marieke Baan, and our colleagues Paul Groot and Steven Bloemen, both astronomers at the Radboud University in Nijmegen in the Netherlands. Today I'm going to be talking about a new project called Stargazing Live, in which we are combining expertise from many different angles to create new resources for schools based on real astrophysical data. Stargazing Live is a project which started this year with the aim of bringing semi-live real scientific data into the classroom. The data will come from the MeerLICHT and BlackGEM telescopes, owned and operated by the Radboud University in Nijmegen, the Netherlands. MeerLICHT is a small telescope based in South Africa, which does optical follow-up for the radio telescope MeerKAT. The BlackGEM array is currently being built in La Silla in Chile. The telescope design is the same as MeerLICHT, but eventually there will be an array of 15 telescopes. The scientific aim of BlackGEM is to quickly respond to and observe the optical counterparts of gravitational wave detections. Each night the telescopes upload all of their data to Nijmegen, where it is processed automatically. My colleagues and I at NOVA are astronomy outreach and education professionals, and together with the astronomers in Nijmegen we applied for funding through a science communication call from the Dutch Research Council. Funding was awarded earlier this year and work began. But what are we doing? The target group is upper secondary school physics students, 16 to 18-year-olds, studying at the highest level in the Netherlands, pre-university education. As such, they cover some fairly advanced topics in astrophysics. The main product is a new lesson for the NOVA network of mobile planetariums, which visit schools across the Netherlands. We will use recently taken data to help explain topics related to the science goals of the telescopes, which are also taught in the school curriculum. This photo shows an image from the MeerLICHT telescope of the Tarantula Nebula, displayed in the NOVA mobile planetarium. The planetarium show will also contain a short, full-dome film about the telescopes and their science goals. In addition, we are creating a supporting lesson activity and an extra activity for project students who will be able to write a proposal to gain data themselves. And of course, the resources will be tested in schools before being made freely available via various networks. I'd like to jump straight in with our take-home message before expanding on some details. We believe astronomy education resources should be created by a group with expertise covering all 3 areas in this Venn diagram. Astronomy outreach and education professionals working in close collaboration with both astronomers and teachers. The 3 key areas of expertise give the name Cocreation 3.0. But now let's take a step back. Traditionally, many educational resources and activities have been developed by astronomers with an interest in outreach. The aim is to do something fun or to promote their own research area to a wider audience. However, the creation was often the focus, with little structural testing in schools or feedback from teachers. Resources rarely had didactical tips for the teacher or a link to the curriculum taught in schools. In recent years, there has been a shift towards involving teachers in the development process. Platforms such as astroedu.org have actively encouraged this. With astroedu, it is necessary to have tested the activity in at least one classroom, and activities are peer-reviewed before being published on the site. The involvement of teachers in the process of activity and resource development is often referred to as co-creation, although this can mean varying levels of involvement of teachers. We have chosen to title this talk Co-Creation 3.0, and before I go into more detail about that, it's important to look at the educational goals in our project Stargazing Live. Our overreaching goal is to develop resources in a rigorous manner, which will be used in schools. In the second slide, I listed the products, planetarium show and associated classroom activities. But more importantly, the project has a number of educational goals. First, a key aim of the planetarium in general is to be inspirational, to inspire young people to go on and study science and work in science careers. Whilst many teachers feel that inspiration is already enough reason to book the planetarium, many teachers ask themselves, am I using this time to support my teaching? For this reason, a clear link to the curriculum, both in terms of the knowledge and scientific concepts studied, and also the scientific methodology students learn at this level, is important. Finally, whilst the content of the curriculum is freely available, we will only know for sure if the level and scope of the activities is correct once activities have been thoroughly tested and refined. These goals are broad and require many different skills and insights. In the next few slides, I wish to outline our approach from the core team to actions taken to bring in further expertise. Let's first look at the core team in the project. Our team includes professional astronomers with significant outreach experience, an astronomy communication professional, a planetarium specialist, and a former astronomer with formal educational experience. As co-creation teams go, this is already quite a diverse skill set, particularly with team members having significant and consolidated communication and educational experience, and I don't just mean giving the odd activity at a local school. In addition, we will call in feedback from physics teachers in a variety of ways. The project requires expertise in 3 areas, and we have ensured that our core team already covers most of these areas, and we will bring in more help from teachers in schools, and this is what I want to focus on in the next slide. Involving teachers is not a new idea. For a while now, teachers are asked to test out resources in their class and give feedback. For the AstroEdu project, teachers are also asked to peer review resources. However, in our projects, we have gone much further, contacting teachers from the beginning. We first created a large survey which we advertised on a national scale. We wanted to know what teachers want relating to all aspects of our project. Do they want shorter activities, or do they prefer a larger project? Are there concepts that they find particularly difficult to teach, or that the students struggle to grasp? We also asked what is more important for them when choosing which activities or extras they will do with their class, like arranging the visit of a planetarium. Is it inspiring the students, or do they look for something which they believe will help them cover the curriculum? We also used the survey as a means to contact teachers interested in helping further. As a result, we've had 3 focus group discussions to date to discuss the results of the survey. We are currently in the development phase, but we have also had contact with a number of teachers who are keen to read various drafts and provide feedback during this process. Once the planetarium show and activities are ready, we have arranged to test them at a teacher training event and also in a number of schools for a final round of feedback. In this way, we once again reach up to 50 teachers and their students. Once this phase is done, we will offer the activities alongside our standard planetarium programme, and each school which chooses the new show and activities will be asked to provide feedback. This final testing phase will last a year. I'd like to share some of the insights we've gained so far from the survey and the focus groups, and they are interesting as they weren't always what we were expecting. The first point I'd like to make is that it's important to get feedback from a large group of teachers. We all have easy contact with a few particularly interested and engaged teachers that themselves are avid amateur astronomers. And whilst this is really great, it is important to realise that their views on what teachers in general need are also to some degree influenced by their own love of astronomy. And we saw this difference in a number of areas. Firstly, the main topic that teachers were interested in were gravity and the electromagnetic spectrum. These were not necessarily the most difficult topics to teach or the most difficult for students to understand, and certainly not the most cutting edge. They are, however, the topics which students need to understand in the greatest depth. Most of the exam questions will include elements of these topics in different situations. We were also interested in what kind of activities teachers are interested in. Highly engaged teachers have given us the impression that in-depth project work using real data would be a great idea. However, the majority of teachers filling in our survey and participating in our focus groups expressed a preference for shorter activities, no more than around 30 minutes and based around curriculum topics. Finally, whilst teachers with a particular interest for astronomy feel that the inspirational element is the most important in any planetarium show or activity, most of the teachers told us that they select activities purely based on the curriculum links. There is something to be said for both viewpoints, but the quote I include shows the widespread of opinion. It is therefore important to decide which direction you want to take before developing any resources, and if you want to reach the largest number of teachers and students, the link to the curriculum really is key. So we can come back to the take-home message. Creating astronomy resources for use in education requires a broad skill set and should involve significant input from all 3 of these areas of expertise. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation. If you would like to know more, please don't hesitate to contact us via the email addresses on this slide.